Hi, friends. Welcome back. I'm Emily.
And I'm Whitney.
And you're listening to Cousins Talk Crime. You're listening to a true crime podcast. Today's episode may include sensitive or triggering topics. These topics may include domestic abuse, child abuse, substance abuse, sexual assault, torture, murder, and suicide. So, Whitney, what's up?
Oh, nothing. I got really excited because we did have cooler weather there for a minute, but now it's back up to the 90s.
Oh my gosh. I know I was like,
All
are
week's
we?
gonna be in the 90s.
I know. And there's like not a cloud in sight. Last time I checked on the weather app, not a freaking cloud in sight. Hopefully by the time this airs, we've reached a break. However, I didn't show this off last episode. I want to show off my sweatshirt. So Whitney got me this sweatshirt as a surprise one day. And it is, she knows that I love Post Malone. So this is Ghost Malone.
That's so cute.
And it's got his tattoos. And Post Malone just released his new album.
Is it good?
F1 Trillion. Oh my gosh. It's so good.
Have you been like listening to it on repeat?
I have listened to it quite a bit, but not quite on repeat. I've been obsessed with Morgan Wallen for like a year now. So his music's still what I listen to most of the time. And then I'll take a break and listen to the F1 Trillion album. And then I'll be like, I miss Morgan Wallen. I need to go back. Yeah, it's not healthy.
And I do not mean this in any type of... You do not give me vibes of you like country music.
I didn't until I started liking Morgan Wallen.
You know what I mean, though? Like, you just do not give off, like, I'm a diehard country music.
No, I'm not. I don't like country music. But I love Morgan Wallen. So the story behind Morgan Wallen. Very famous with the young kids, okay?
Yeah.
So a year ago in October, so not quite a year ago, we were driving to Gulf Shores, and I had my nephew and his friend in the car with me. And the whole way down there, I was listening to Post Malone because I was obsessed with Post Malone at the time.
Yeah.
So the whole way down there, listening to Post Malone. On the way back home, they were like, we're listening to our music. We're not listening to Post Malone the whole way. So the whole way back, we listened to Morgan Wallen. Ever since then, I've been hooked. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this guy. And then, what was it? I came home, and like, I have an Alexa in my bathroom. So when I take a shower, I'm like, hey, Alexa. And I was like, hey, Alexa, play some Morgan Wallen. So she plays, and then she goes through some songs, and then it moves to like other artists. And then Luke Combs played, and it was a Luke Combs song, and I was like, I love this song. Who's this? And so I downloaded it. And then some Morgan Wallen stuff came back. And then another Luke Combs song came on. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love this song. Who is this? And I'm like, oh, I like Luke Combs as well.
So
they're the only country music I like, except now Post Malone, because he's now a country music singer. So now I'm a country music fan, I guess.
Yeah.
However, those are the only country music I listen to. And like 90s country, like the stuff I grew up listening to. My mom... that was back when like music videos were a thing that you watched on TV.
Oh yeah.
She would always turn on like
CMT music videos.
Yeah, while she cleaned on Saturday mornings, and I grew up with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, 90s country's great.
Yes, I agree.
However, those are the only country music. I don't like country music. I don't like it. Don't tell me I like it. I don't like it.
That's funny.
So yeah, I love my Ghost Malone sweatshirt. I love it.
It's so cute.
I've been on the TikTok shop and Amazon getting all kinds of Halloween-y stuff, fall
stuff. Did Corey like it? Did you show Corey?
Yeah, I showed him. My mom liked it. Corey, he doesn't like anything. He's so boring. Not boring. He just doesn't get excited about stuff like I do. I'm like, look at He's like, cool. It's a shirt that says Ghost Malone.
That's funny.
I'm like, it's great. So, anything in your neck of the woods?
No, nothing new. Just been busy, busy bee.
Busy bee.
Working. I didn't get home from the office last night till almost 10 o'clock.
Oh my gosh.
And I got my first showing was at 9:30 in the morning yesterday.
Wow.
Yep. Had a showing at 9:30. That lasted. I had a showing at 9:30 and I spaced them out because I had another showing at noon. I'm like, that'll give me plenty of time. Nope. I left at 9:30 one to go to my noon one out in the middle of the boonies with no signal. She was 10 minutes late. And I usually, at the beginning, I would stay. Now, if you're not there in 10 minutes, you're wasting my time.
Yeah.
So, like I said, no signal. I leave at exactly 10 after. I drive about 8 minutes till I get signal, and it pops up a text saying like running 12 minutes behind, and then I'm here. So turn my little car around, head back 8 minutes in the other direction. For how she didn't like.
For a house she didn't like.
Yeah, and I stepped in dog poop. So then my tennis shoe had a big dog poop on it. So I drove back to my office, took my shoes off and put them on the outside of my car. And thankfully I had flip-flops in my car that I put on and wore into the office. And I was dressed like where it didn't match. And I was like, I'm in flip-flops because I got dog poop on my shoes.
Whoops.
Yep. So it was fun.
Just a
Fun day, didn't it? Until 10 o'clock at night.
And that was yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah, no wonder you couldn't record the podcast.
Yeah. No. That was Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Thursday.
Days flow together.
Yeah.
Days flow together.
Like, what day is this?
I don't even know. Alrighty. So, I think Whitney's got today's case.
Yes, I do. And this is supposedly, in the amount of stuff that's out there, it's a very well-known missing person case, but I had never heard of it. But
This name does not sound familiar. Or that face.
Yeah, the disappearance of Maura Murray. And she disappeared in 2004. But it's very well known. I mean, it's been on the ID channel. There's an Amazon Prime series on it. So when you get done with this and you want to check those out, I'm definitely going to watch the Amazon Prime series.
I wonder if my sister-in-law has heard about this, because she is like, she's listening. I know she is. She loves true crime. She watches all the investigation discovery stuff, all the oxygen stuff. So I wonder if this is one that she's heard of.
It's crazy because even on my other times looking up, I don't remember this one. But it's a pretty well-known one, and it's crazy. It has, like, it was very interesting to research and dive into. Like, I, like, am still like, what happened, you know?
I can't wait.
So I'll get into it.
I'm excited.
Maura Murray was born on May 4th, 1982. Isn't that the Star Wars day?
May 4th, yes. May the 4th be with you.
Yeah. In Brocktown, Massachusetts. She was raised in a nearby town of Hanson, the youngest daughter of Fred and Lori Murray. Her parents separated when she was just 6 years old. She had 4 siblings, Fred, Kathleen, Julie, and Curtis. And she was often described as an overachiever from a young age. She was very athletic and very smart. And I know we say that, you know, a lot of times, but she had like nationally high ranked SAT scores.
Oh, wow.
and she broke like all the track records at her school.
Really cool.
Yeah, so she was
She
very good. Yeah.
she really was. Wow.
Mm-hmm. When she graduated high school, she had offers from various colleges wanting her to come there.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. But instead of attending college for academics or athletics, she accepted a nomination and enrolled in the prestigious West Point Military Academy. Have we talked about West Point Military before? For some reason, I thought we had. Maybe not.
I don't think so. I'm trying to tie it to somebody. I'm not sure
I
that it,
don't know.
I don't know either.
So she went to West Point military school because her sister was already there, Julie. And her sister Julie loved it. Maura was also known to be like a fast thinker, bickered back and forth with all her siblings. They all said she was very good at like one-liners and stuff. Her older sister Julie was already there and thriving at one of the most difficult schools in the nation. Her sister did like an interview and she was saying that her first year she absolutely loved it. She said the first year is the hardest, like physically and mentally, like it's push-up structure. She said she would write back to Maura, who was still in high school, and would say, like, you need to apply and come here with me. We'll be on the track team together. You're gonna crush it. You're gonna love it. And she said, with Maura excelling through high school, made nationals in the 2 miles, scored almost perfect on her SATs. So she came in there, no problem getting in. And the first summer is the hardest, where you do all the military training. And she said, all this stuff I loved, Maura did not love. And she said that she was shocked by this. She vividly remembers one night she tried to sneak Maura like treats, like cookies at night, because I don't think they were allowed to have them. And she found her sister bawling her eyes out in her dorm room.
Aww.
Mm-hmm. And she said, but she did stick it out the first year. And she said, and then it was the second year where she could just tell, like, this wasn't, for her. And this is where she started to see her, like, struggle, like, mentally and stuff. And she said that second year, she had, like, had an incident with a friend in a store, which you gotta realize this is a 19-year-old. She stole makeup from a store and got caught. And this wasn't like a troubled or like someone who ever had been in trouble. She was probably doing it just to do it, And she said that forced her to have to go through this honor committee at school where like it was hard before, but now they are making her life even like harder since she had miserable. She said that she'd asked her sister why she did it and she didn't even know. She was like, I had the money, like it was stupid, And her sister was like, maybe that was like a cry for help, like her just not, you know what I mean? Like maybe she was like, get me out of here,
Let me get kicked out. Like hoping she'd get kicked out.
Yeah. So she was put through all these international proceedings to try to, from this makeup scandal, like they were making her like walk, it said, like miles with her gun back and forth every morning. She was missing track practice. She was falling behind on her grades now. They would make her march in her uniform no matter what the weather was all morning long for this makeup incident.
Oh my gosh.
And she said that was rough for her to go through that because she was like missing track meets and practices and she had to do that cadet punishment. She said that prompted her to just be like, I don't want to do this anymore, And so she actually left before the honor committee could even come back with a final decision, And she transferred to UMass and enrolled in a highly competitive nursing program, following in her mother's footsteps, and she got in, like, no problem. And her sister said, like, she was talking to her and she could stay up late, she could sleep in. She was loving life,
I bet. Going from that to that.
Like, this was much more, and she was on the track team. This was much more her.
Like, why did I go?
Put myself,
Sister, why would you do that?
And this was something else, and this will be like not in real importance, but her sister found out later that Maura was also battling an eating disorder. Like, a lot of professional athletes. You know what I mean? I feel like,
Starving herself, not eating everything she needed to eat.
well, she was binging late at night and I think throwing it all up. Like
Oh.
there comes up an instance where I think a couple people knew about it, but she ends up getting in trouble later on for something. But she was like eating, like binge eating basically, and then I think purging her. You know what I mean? Afterwards.
What's the point of doing that?
I just think it's a very, I think for her, what her sister did, it was a control thing. It was something she could control. She could eat all that food, then she could, you know.
Hmm.
I think you eat it all and then you feel guilty. You know what I mean?
Feel
Maybe.
guilty. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
I don't. Trying to think, like, does the calorie intake count towards your protein, and then once it counts towards your protein, you throw it all up? And I don't know. I'm just trying
I
to
think it's a
understand it.
mental thing. I think it's you're probably starving yourself all, you know what I mean, to fit the standard, then you binge all this food, then you're like, I regret it, and then you just make yourself, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I always feel bad for people that
Mm-hmm.
have stuff like that going
So
on.
she found out she had an eating disorder. So she had a boyfriend back at her military school named Bill, and they stayed in their a long distance relationship. They would like in the weekends they'd travel to see each other. Not every weekend, but they would make time to make their relationship work.
Mm-hmm.
She picked up two part-time jobs to pay for gas. One was a part-time security guard checking IDs at the dorm security, and the other was like in an art gallery, like working events. When she was at UMass, she was now close to home, so she could spend time with her family. She spent time with her other sister, Kathleen. She went on hikes with her dad and her brother. Um, Maura would send her sister care packages, who was, you know, at the military school with her, but she had left now and she's stationed in Iraq. So her sister, you
Her
know,
sister's currently stationed in Iraq.
during this point in time, yeah, when
Oh,
she gets
okay.
enrolled in the other school, and she would send her care packages.
Gotcha.
Her sister, Julie, is the one stationed in Iraq. She said that they would communicate a lot over AOL Messenger back then, and that she wouldn't always get to talk to her on the phone, you know, being
Mm.
so far. Maura shared her love for running with, found a friend named Kate, who was also in the track team, and they started running together. And they were making plans together. They had plans to like go on spring break together, and they were actually going to meet Maura's sister Julie on spring break. While working at the art gallery, Maura met another girl named Sarah. She wasn't as close to Sarah as she was to Kate. Her sister Julie even said she had never even heard her mention Sarah. But her dad had heard Maura mention her. Both Sarah and Kate would become important in the timeline leading up to the disappearance. Maura and her boyfriend, after a little bit, would start doing the long distance thing was becoming like a breakup, get back together. They were kind of getting where they were breaking up for a little bit and then get back together. It says during one of their breakups, Maura started dating a grad track coach, and he was a standout runner. He was slightly older and an athletic coach, so they kind of kept it quiet just because the coach player,
Yeah.
you know, dynamic isn't greatly looked upon. But they said that was short term, and then she got back together with Bill.
So he was more just like a fling.
Mm-hmm. Her friend Kate said she didn't know Bill very well, but she said usually when he came down, those two just spent time together. Since they didn't, you know, she didn't. She said she did go out to eat with him a couple times, and he seemed, you know, pretty nice. The last time, I guess, that she made a trip to see Bill, she got pulled over for speeding, taking him to the airport. Or maybe it was when he was down to send her. But it was like $360 ticket. Like she was going way over the speed limit. Like this girl was going 90 or something.
Jeez.
She got her license suspended.
That's got to be going fast if you're getting your license suspended.
It was like for a month, but she had these forms that she needed to fill out to get her license back.
Oh my gosh.
And she needed to go somewhere, get them filled out, and I guess turn them back in. She continued to struggle, I guess, with this eating disorder.
Mm-hmm.
She, for somehow, obtained someone's credit card number and was using it to order food late at night. And I mean, this was like a bunch of food, like I said. Like, she got someone's card, she's ordering food. This student noticed these charges on their card, and they kind of set up a sting operation, and Maura got caught, and she owned up to it, and she got 3 months probation.
That's weird.
She had bought, I guess, like 2 or 3 books on like self-help and getting over anorexia, and her sister found them afterwards, in her dorm. Like she was struck, you know what
She
I
was
mean?
struggling hard. She
She
was
didn't
crying.
even want it on her card that she was ordering this, you know what I mean? And making these late night, like pizza purchases and stuff.
Which is weird. I thought anorexia is when you wouldn't eat.
No, I think it's when you eat and purge.
Oh, see,
Mm-hmm.
I've had the wrong definition of anorexic then.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I thought it was people that didn't eat at all.
No, she would just eat, and then make
Ugh.
herself gorge it.
Oh my gosh.
Maura was having like issues with her car, and she was in nursing school, and so they were going to clinicals. She said it was embarrassing because like her car was like black smoke was just like rolling out of it sometimes and making noises. So her dad came down and drove it and was like, "Listen, you don't need to be driving this anymore. Like something is, you know what I mean? Something's really wrong with your car."
Yeah.
He said he parked it in the back student parking lot before because I think he had came down. He's like, "We'll figure out what to do with it."
Mm-hmm.
And he had planned, he was like, I'm gonna come back one day and we're gonna buy you a new car.
Yeah.
And he said he had taken about $4,000 of cash out. So this is important. This is the day before she disappeared.
Okay.
Her dad came down that day. It was on February 7th, 2004. And they went out car shopping all day. They found a couple that she really liked, and he said like one was 5,000, one was 6,000, and I don't really understand this, but he didn't have a checkbook on him, and I guess he could only make so many withdrawals out of the ATM, and he couldn't get the full to pay for it that day. So
Yeah.
they found it, what they were gonna get, and he's like, I'll get the money, we'll go back,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll get your car. So they ended up, him and her and Kate, her friend, went out to dinner that evening. And her dad doesn't live close. Her mom did. He had like flown in,
Oh,
or
okay.
like, yeah, from the airport, rented a car and met her down there at school. That's why he parked it in the parking lot, was like, had plans to come back. He was staying in a hotel. They had a dorm party they want to go to. And I read where the sister talked about this too because it didn't make much sense to her.
Mm-hmm.
She asked her dad if she could borrow his car that he had, and then because he was flying out the next morning, and he had a rental, and she's like, "And I'll bring it back to you and drive you to the airport." Which he knew they were planning on drinking. He had even bought them alcohol, but they were just going to a dorm party. And so he was like, okay. But the smartest thing would have been is for him to just drop them off but that's not what happened. So Maura dropped her father off at his hotel room and borrowed his car to return to the campus dorm party. She arrived at the dorm party at 10:30 p.m. According to Kate, her friend, this was like a hallway dorm party, like people have their dorm rooms open. There's like 5 people can only fit in a room.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
she said it wasn't anything like crazy. Like it wasn't, she said she doesn't even remember anything like exciting happening.
Yeah.
Maura left the party on February 8th at 2:30 in the morning. At approximately 3:30 in the morning, she hit a guardrail on Route 98 in Hadley, causing nearly $10,000 worth of damages to the Toyota Corolla. The responding officer wrote up a report, but there is no record of sobriety tests that may have been conducted. Maura was driven to her father's hotel and I guess stayed in his room. Later at 4:49 a.m., Maura made a phone call to her boyfriend on Fred's phone. She didn't have her phone, so she left her phone, I guess she felt terrible about wrecking her dad's, I've heard it was a rental. I heard it was his car. I'm not really for sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He honestly, I listened to an interview that he did about it, and he's not the type to get mad or upset. He was glad she was okay.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't anything where he was like, he said she was harder on herself about it. He said he called that day and they were doing an insurance claim, and it ended up that the insurance was covering it, and he just have to pay his $500 deductible. So he was like, it's honestly, you know what I mean? Everything's okay. And he was like, he wanted her to do like file, like she had to do something with the insurance as well. Her dad said he checked out of the hotel and dropped Maura off at her dorm. He told her to call him Monday night, and she was crying because she felt bad about wrecking his car. He said that was the last time he saw his daughter, when he dropped her off and she was crying over wrecking his car. That night at 11:26 p.m., she called her dad and talked more about the insurance claim, and that's the last time he's ever talked to his daughter. So that was February 8th. And I believe February 7th is when they went shopping, right?
Yes.
Okay.
February 7th, they went car shopping, dinner with Kate. Dad stayed in hotel, dorm party, borrowed dad's rental. 10:30 p.m., they arrived at the party. And then Maura left February 8th at 2:30 a.m.
Yep.
That's the timeline.
So February 9th. This is the day she disappeared.
Okay.
You ready for this timeline?
Yes. Hold on.
This is where it gets kind of crazy.
Feb 9th. Let's go.
So remember, she made that call at 11:26 p.m.
11:26 p.m. So almost
on the
February
8th.
9th.
Yeah, almost February 9th to her dad.
Okay.
About the insurance claim.
Okay.
Her sister did state she was a night owl. She had issues sleeping.
Okay.
3:32 a.m. She submits all her nursing homework. It has to do with like Braxton Hicks and her nursing school. Like she was in like the OB section of it.
Uh-huh.
And she submits that all. They have it time stamped, how at 3:32 in the morning.
Yeah.
She went on her personal computer and searched MapQuest for directions to Berkshire Mountains in Burlington, Vermont. And then they say, like, that's when her activity on her computer stopped. So
Okay.
they're thinking she finally fell asleep. 1 p.m. that same day, she emailed her boyfriend and she said, I love you more, stud. I got your messages, but honestly, I don't feel like talking too much to anyone. I promise to call today, though. Love you, Maura. At 1:13, Maura called a condominium in Bartlett, New Hampshire, to inquire about renting a condo. It was the same condo where her family had previous vacations. Records reflect the call lasted 3 minutes. And her sister said they would go there every summer as a family. So now she's calling, okay? At 1:30, she emailed her professor that she needed to leave because there had been a death in her family. And her family said no death had occurred. At about 1:35, after she made that email, she called her friend Erin that she had borrowed clothes from, a fellow nursing student, and said that she was dropping off the clothes. And Erin did confirm that around 3 p.m. she knocked on her door and dropped off those clothes. But before that, so at 1:13, she made the call that she's dropping off the clothes. At 2:05, Maura called a number that provided information about booking hotels in Stowe, Vermont. It was a 5-minute phone call. After that, she called her boyfriend at 2:18 p.m., leaving a voicemail promising they would talk later. And it said between 2:14 and 2:24, her and Bill played phone tag, but it can show they never actually spoke. They were you know what I mean? Calling and missing calls. That voicemail she left, that was the end of her phone activity. 3 o'clock, she knocked on the door and left the clothes outside the door.
Oh, left. So Erin didn't see her.
Mm-mm. She saw the clothes, though. You know, they were sitting out there.
Yeah.
She packed toiletries, birth control, textbooks, and some clothes. At 3:15, Maura appears alone on CCTV footage withdrawing money out of her bank account.
Okay, so she is alive.
Yeah.
Okay.
She packed her bags into her 1996 Saturn sedan, the one she's not supposed to be driving.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
Black smoke rolling. It's getting ready to break down any minute.
Mm-hmm.
She went to the bank to withdraw the money out of her account. She withdrew $280. She left only $20 in her bank account. With the $280 she withdrew, she went to the liquor store and she purchased alcohol, including Bailey's Irish Cream, is it Kahlua? Vodka, and a box of Franzia wine, which I guess were ingredients for her favorite drink.
Okay.
A Black Russian.
Okay.
It was $40 worth of alcohol. Surveillance footage confirmed that she was alone when she went to the bank and the liquor store. And the receipt for all the liquor was in her car, too.
Okay.
And time-stamped. She also went and picked up the accident report from the motor vehicle registry sometime during the day, which they said means she had to go to the police department or somewhere to get this accident report she needed for her dad. Her dad needed it for that insurance claim.
Yeah.
They don't know when or what time, but it was in her car. Okay?
Okay.
Then she heads north with no confirmation of any reservation in her black sedan Saturn and its destination unknown. Where's Mara going? I lied about the phone activity. It says at 4:37 p.m. Mara checks her voicemail for the last time. So I don't know why that other one said that. That was the last activity ever logged on her phone. So maybe they meant the voicemail was the last one she ever sent, but this was the last time she ever checked her phone.
Yeah.
Classes at college were canceled due to snow the day Mara disappeared. It is believed she left Amherst between 4 and 5 p.m., likely via Interstate 91 North. She hadn't told anyone of her destination, nor was there any proof she had selected a place, that she had been calling. Approximately 3 hours after she left Massachusetts, the Haverhill Police Department received a 911 call from a resident reporting a car crash.
Oh my gosh.
So even though there was snow that day, it said when this happened, there was this is at 7:27 p.m., by the way, the 911 call.
Okay.
They said they had a foot of snow, but the roads were dry. Like they had gotten snow earlier. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You've seen it.
Yes.
We've seen it here in Indiana. You see the snow but there's nothing on the road.
Yeah.
But it was temperatures are in the 20s.
Okay.
So it's cold. So 7:27 p.m. Faith Westman, a woman who lived in Woodsville, New Hampshire, heard a loud noise outside her house. She looked out the window and saw a car had missed a hairpin turn and had crashed into the snowbank along Route 112. It's called Wild Amanusk Road.
Okay.
The car was on the eastbound side of the road pointed west. Basically, from what I've read in the reports, it wasn't facing the direction it should have been.
Okay. Like she spun.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Like she spun. I don't know.
I don't know.
According to dispatch logs, she stated that she saw what appeared to be a man smoking a cigarette inside the car. She can't say if anyone is hurt because she hasn't went outside to investigate when
Yeah.
While looking at the window, Faith sees Butch Atwood, her neighbor, who's a local bus driver, who was speaking to the young woman driving. So she's on the phone relaying this to 911 that, Butch is out there, talking to her. And I do want to add this in here because I know I'll forget. This whole cigarette guy scenario has been brought up, and there's never any evidence that there was any other person in that car or that she smoked or like cigarettes, in her vehicle, outside the vehicle. But her sister got on there and showed us her cell phone's never been recovered. But the cell phone that she had was a flip phone, and when you were on it, it had a red light on it, and it looks like in the dark that it could be like
Oh,
if you're looking, she's like if she was on her phone, it might have looked like a cigarette.
yeah.
And she thinks that's what.
And from far away, that might be
Yeah.
how you're interpreting it. We can always interpret
But yeah,
stuff
she
different.
said her phone had a red light on it when you were on it. So we go to Butch. When he's speaking to her, the woman told him that she had already called AAA. Bush asked her if he wanted her to just come to his house and wait with him because it was cold and snowing, and the driver declined. When Butch got home, he placed the second 911 call.
Okay. He also called.
Yep, so he walked home and he said she was shaken up, shivering. She was a young woman with her hair down. By the way, her sister states that she never had her hair down, so she has an issue with this. But I mean, I don't know. He didn't see any blood, dark hair to her shoulders, offers her to stay at his house while they're waiting, and that she says she had already talked to AAA. And he knows immediately, Butch does, that that's not true because there's no signal out here at all. I guess everyone who lives on that road knows, like, you can't make a phone call out here.
Yeah.
So he thought that was odd that she had said that she had called and talked to AAA because he's like, but he said he just walked, was like, okay,
But also, in her defense, I don't know what's going on here, but like in the defense of a girl and in this situation,
Yeah, like,
she just
leave me
got
alone.
well, yeah, she just got in a car accident and she's got a stranger. Who knows what Butch looks like? I don't know what he looks like. He may be
Right.
creepy looking. I already called somebody. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Like, I'm not going into your house.
Yeah, no. So I already called him. Goodbye. So I don't see anything suspicious there. Like,
No.
weird there.
He was just saying, like,
Yeah.
I know she didn't call, we don't get signal out here. So he tells 911 that her airbags are deployed, but, like, he does not see any blood, nothing, besides being, like, shaken up.
Yeah.
At 7:46 p.m., police Cecil Smith arrives at the scene to discover a locked and abandoned car with a rag in the tailpipe, wine in the back seat, no sign of Maura, and no footprints in the snow. Finds the Saturn locked and abandoned, bumper and hood damage, and notice red wine spilt, like in the driver's seat and the back. Smith said, "Where is the girl?" when he went to the neighbor's house. The only person to state it was a girl was the Atwoods. Some have said he knew it was a girl by looking at the items in the car. So this is where it was confusing, I guess. The sister thinks it's weird that he said girl, but like, because the first caller didn't really know, couldn't really see, I guess. But then the second caller did say it was a female. But I read where the sister thought it was odd that the police automatically knew it was a girl. But I mean, dispatch could have told him that. Butch called too. I think I don't know, but the sister just thought it was odd that he knew for some reason. I don't know why. And like I said, some have said he knew just by looking at the items of the car, maybe he assumed it was a girl, or maybe the dispatch told him that when Butch
Mm-hmm.
called it was a girl,
Well, I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
That's how they say it. Like,
Yeah.
female, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. So he took photos. I guess a state trooper hears it on dispatch, and he heard the report that a single female smoking a cigarette outside a car was wrecked. So he goes to help, with the. So there's another witness, and she is known to be a famous witness known as Witness A. But her name is Karen McCavera. She was driving home from work. Not once, but twice, the same cop passed her with lights on. She said the same police car passed her twice, and she noted on the back of the SUV that it said 001. That's how she knew it was the same one, she said. but she said it was an SUV. And she said she had to pull over, because it had its lights on.
Mm-hmm.
How it passed her twice, I do not know. I think she gets more into that. I want to say she said she was taking some sort of shortcut and came out on I honestly don't know her story, but she said the same police car passed her twice. And that she knows it was the same one because it said 001 and she had to pull over. And she said well, maybe this is it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it passed her and then she passed it. Because she said she came up on the police car and it was nose to nose with another vehicle, that black Saturn.
Yeah.
So maybe it passed her
And
she saw the number, and then when she passed it again, she knew it was the same officer that she.
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense,
Yes.
I think.
Yep.
Okay.
And she said that you don't get service out there.
Mm-hmm.
And she said she was driving her route home like she typically does. And she said when she got to Beaver Pond, where you get signal, she made a call. And it was at 7:52. Here's the part that doesn't make sense to anybody, and this is why she's been a key witness.
Okay.
Because it took her 10 minutes to get to the point of signal from where she saw the car, she said. And if you route it, it does, from where she said she passed the police to where she got signal. She made that call at 7:52.
Okay.
So she's saying at 7:42 is when she saw the cop.
Nose to nose.
Nose to nose. When they hadn't supposedly 7:46 is when he arrived in his logs. So there's a little bit of like not making sense. And I mean, maybe she's off on her minutes. Maybe it took her quicker. But
I think their log's wrong because you said at 7:43 dispatch called back saying that the girl wasn't there.
yeah,
So he probably was there before 7:40.
maybe.
He probably was there at 7:42. He might have been there at 7:36 and his time is wrong.
She said she pulled over, looked back, and wondered if she should help. The police were already there, and she said it didn't really look like an accident, just like a vehicle parked on the wrong side of the road and into the snowbank, the Saturn. She said she didn't see anyone out walking around, and she didn't see anyone at all. Like, she didn't see any officers out. She didn't see anyone outside of the car. She just saw him with his lights on, butted up to, I guess there's a store close to there. I guess she calls in later, but I just wanted to get that out there that she did drive by. But I'm going to go back to the actual, this is going on. I guess they get there, she's not there. It's abandoned. They can't find her. There's no footprints in the snow. They're trying to figure out, like, who was even in this vehicle, The state trooper that showed up, there was a little store down the road. He popped in that store, asked if anyone had seen a, girl. They said no. They sent out, this is another thing the sister thinks is strange that I've read about. They sent out a bolo for a girl that was 5'7", brown hair. Her ID, just so you know, has never been found.
Yeah. How they know she was 5'7"?
The sister said that's her exact height.
How did they know that?
That's what she said. From someone sitting down in a car but she said the bus driver knew from talking through the window that she's 5'7".
He's really good. That's weird, though. The height. That is weird.
She thought it was weird.
They get lucky? And that's not even like a general height of a woman. Like, if you're going to take a guess at how tall a woman was, you're not going to say 5'7".
Yeah. So that evening, police they take her car to someone's personal garage. They still don't know whose vehicle this is. They're running the plate. It isn't her dad's name. I guess it gives them an old address. They call the phone number. No one answers that evening. And I mean, they still don't know. They don't know who it is driving the car, because there's no ID. But her sister, I want to say 20 years later, says what makes her mad is she finally got a copy of what they found inside the car because they did like a search on it. And she said there were 7 items with her name on it and address inside the vehicle. And you didn't, you know what I mean? Like put 2 and 2 together, you know, that that's who the driver was. So the police arrived. According to the official log, they arrived on scene at 7:46. Saw no one at the scene. The driver was gone. The car had hit a tree on the driver's side, knocking the radiator into the fan and damaging the left headlight, incapacitating the vehicle, along with crackling the front windshield. Both airbags had deployed and the car was locked. The officer saw red stains that looked like red wine spilled inside and outside the car. Inside on the back seat, he found an empty beer bottle and a box of wine Maura had purchased. He found her AAA card, her accident report forms that she had picked up, CDs, her favorite stuffed animal, diamond jewelry, makeup, a map to Burlington, Vermont, and Not Without Me, Pearl, a book about mountain climbing in the White Mountains. Her debit and credit cards were missing, along with her cell phone and her license. Some bottles of liquor were also missing from the receipt, you know, that she had
Yeah.
bought at the store. Also, there was a random Chrysler part in her car, and she owned a Saturn.
What?
And the Chrysler car part has a lot of people confused.
Okay.
Police initially classified Maura as a missing person and treated the case like she may have disappeared voluntarily due to the travel preparation and planning and no evidence of abduction or foul play. The following morning at 10:15 a.m., so this happened at 7 o'clock, you know, at night. The judge issues a search warrant for the vehicle to identify the vehicle search. And like she said, 7 items had Maura's name on it. They also found, and this is what her sister found later on, I mean, down the road on her own when she had to ask for the evidence, a handwritten name and phone number. And her sister just recently got the search warrant. So, I mean, this was back in 2004, so 20 years ago. And she saw the handwritten note with the name and number on it. So the sister called. This is Julie, her sister that was in Iraq, by the way.
Yeah.
And she called that number and they told her that no one has ever contacted them, nor did they know that their name and number was associated with the missing person case. They owned a condo in New Hampshire about 25 miles from where Maura's car was found. So if she was making calls that day, you know what I mean, and she wrote that number down, this was their condo was 25 miles from where her car was.
Yeah.
And I mean, it makes sense with all her searching she was doing looking. So later on, this was at 10. And I could get the timelines wrong. It's afternoon when they finally get a hold of her family. And
Afternoon the following day.
yeah, afternoon the following day. And they tell her dad that her black 1996 Saturn was found the night before. He said that was his daughter's car, and like it says 24 hours had already passed, so they must not have gotten hold of him till like that evening. Her father arrived there dawn on February 11th. So what day did the accident happen? The 9th?
It was the 9th, the
Yeah.
evening of the 9th, February 11th.
So the 10th is when they finally tell her family, you know, that evening, and he arrives there dawn, like
Yeah.
in the morning. He says then they were telling him about the accident and they were describing to him where it was. They were like, you'll see this old red barn around this, and her car's not there anymore. That's where, you know. And he said it was a dreadful drive. Like he said, these are like windy, especially if you don't know, they're like dark roads, you know. He said he got to where they were describing and he would just had this like terrible feeling. And he said he could see the tire tracks, like when he got up there where she went off and back on to the road.
Yeah.
And he said her car was gone by the time he arrived. He pressured the police to give him details. He said that the police department had 4 police officers total.
Oh my gosh.
He pleaded with them to search. And that day at 8 a.m., Fish and the game investigators in the Murrays were searching in the woods for her. So, like, the brothers, I know they came down with their dad. I know their mom had just like broke her ankle and was like really sick, so her mom wasn't there, and her mom, I guess, felt like terrible about it
But there's no way she could trek around in the mountains in the snow
with a
with a
broken
broken
ankle.
ankle.
Yeah.
So it's 8 a.m. before anybody's searching for
Yeah.
her?
They didn't treat it they thought she
Like
was planning
30,
on traveling.
like 36 hours
It's
later?
20 degrees outside. There's no footprints. She was there and then she was gone. Like from the 911 calls to the cops showing up to a locked abandoned car.
Does anybody believe in aliens?
Right.
Just
It's
wiping
like
her
she
out?
vanished.
Yeah. No footprints.
No footprints. They said a canine picked up her scent that led 100 yards away from the vehicle but lost the scent. Her sister also said they used a glove in her car, and she said she had got this for Christmas. I never even seen her wear them. So, like, they used something that may had not even had, like, a prominent scent on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they said, again, this is past her. I mean, it's snow. Like, her scent could be gone. You guys waited a while to bring out the dogs.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like a whole day and hours have passed. And that was another thing. Her sister talked to people and they're like, yeah, I mean, in those conditions, like, is that even accurate? Because they were saying, oh, she only went 100 yards and someone may have picked her up. And I mean, they don't believe that. They don't know for sure, but they don't think that's accurate. You know, the
Yeah.
canine stopping. This search happened 36 hours after she went missing.
Yeah.
Maura's boyfriend Bill got advance leave from his training base in the military and headed to the airport so he could join the search. When he was at the airport, he was in the security, he missed a call to a cell phone. When he listened to his voicemail, he hears what he described as whimpering and sobbing sounds. He is convinced that it is Maura. The cops trace the call back to a Red Cross calling card. I've never heard of one. I don't know.
When was it that he got this phone call? Don't know.
It had to be, I mean, he got to leave to help come join the search. And he was in airport security when his phone rang and he got the voicemail.
Okay.
Bill's parents picked him at the airport and they also wanted to join the search because they had fallen in love with Maura when their son Bill was dating her. Maura's sister, who was deployed in Iraq, had someone volunteer to take her spot so she could come home and help search.
Wow.
And I want to go back for just a minute because I forgot this part. This was the night before she dropped her dad off at the hotel and wrecked his car. The night before he came.
So this is the 6th? February 6th?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She had a breakdown at her job and like started crying when she was confronted about why she was so visibly upset and shaken. I guess she couldn't hardly talk. She was just saying like her sister. And that was the end of it. Well, when they traced the phone records, they saw that she did talk to her sister like 3 hours prior. Not Julie, that was in Iraq, but her other sister Kathleen, who was struggling with like drugs and addiction. She and her sister does not believe that phone call she had with her would have made her in that kind of contempt. But 20 minutes before her breakdown, she was on the phone with Bill, but he said it was a very good conversation. But I did forget about that because they do bring that up a lot that I mean, this was, and then she was acting weird that day with him,
Mm-hmm.
saying that we'll talk. But
Yeah.
they said she was visibly very upset. Late afternoon, Maura's boyfriend and his parents arrived in Havenhill. Investigators did talk to him. He had shut off his phone during the flight there, and he told them about the voicemail that he received that he believed to be Maura. Police traced the call to an American Red Cross calling card issued to people in crisis.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Issued to people in crisis. What does that even mean?
After they do the little canine thing,
Uh-huh.
the family started searching themselves. They were talking to neighbors. I mean, they were there's 4 police officers on this force.
Yeah.
Okay. They were shook to found out when they talked to the neighbors that nobody had talked to them. The people that made the 911, you know what I mean? No one's came and asked them anything.
Hmm.
I guess these woods are a big, dense place and it's cold but they had multiple searches. They searched campgrounds. Her dad said they dug up places that you would never drink. He said if there was a mound of dirt, he dug, you know what I mean? He was looking at everything.
Yeah.
He said he started hanging out in local shops and restaurants just to hear chatter. Because, see, they weren't, you know what I mean? He would sit in restaurants to see if he could ever hear anyone talking. And he said he would. He would hear stuff.
Oh, really?
He said in one restaurant he went to, he said he learned that night of the accident, 3 young men didn't show up to work their night shift. That these 3 boys were called the Moon Mountain 3, and they all didn't show up to work that night. He said there was a big talk of this big party that went down the night of her disappearance, and that some locals picked her up and took her to the party, and something, ended up happening. He said he heard a lot of rumors, and he said him and his daughter, Julie, they didn't even want to really bring this up to people, but this reminds me of me and you. They said they kept hearing the same names over, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anywhere they went,
Mm-hmm.
people were talking about the same people.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
reminds me of a case we've
He
done.
said it was a small town.
Yeah.
He said the chief of police had a drinking problem. You heard that all around town. He said he was supposedly attending a birthday party that evening. The morning after the disappearance, he wanted a complete list of who attended the scene that night and who was there. Because there were people from other, that he didn't, like the state trooper and stuff. But he said that's all they could ever prove was, hearsay. So, what I brought up that Karen lady,
Yeah.
she saw this on the news 2 days later when it started airing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when she called in and said what she saw. Because what was weird was they wanted to talk to her because the timelines didn't match. And he also, acted like it was a bit, he didn't see anyone or nothing, but she acts like he was there before he said he was there.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of speculation with the knowing the height and stuff, if he was or wasn't, there or not. This is just someone that was digging into the timeline of Karen. And I was wrong, it's 30 minutes. And there's cell phone coverage, I guess, to prove that. And it says on her trip from work to Beaver Pond takes approximately 30 minutes. She made the call at 7:52, but she thinks she saw someone around 7:22. And that is the same time that one dispatcher called back and said, "Where's the girl?"
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of misconstrued with this time frame. I know this Karen is people are trying to break down what she, said she saw that day. and when she said she saw it. But that it's been 20 years and they have no answers. Her sister has a podcast and I follow her sister on TikTok, but I got on Reddit because I like getting on Reddit.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people that think she was drunk, maybe being like an athlete and thought she'd get a DUI or something, ran into the woods and succumbed to, you know what I mean? The cold weather and the elements. Now, I know they did a big search for her in the spring when it
Yeah.
like warmed up and no one's ever found traces of her anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Also, what's been mentioned is that Israel Keys, that serial killer, he was in this vicinity, but I mean, you can't blame everybody that goes missing on,
Israel Keys.
Yeah.
Like Lawrence Beard.
Yeah. The police almost, I guess at some point her sister said they were making it out like she probably planned a suicide or something. And they said nothing that she did following aligns with someone getting to commit, suicide. Like she had the papers to fix stuff and turn into insurance. It kind of looked like someone that wanted to get away for a few days, I mean, what is your opinion?
My opinion, since it's been the same opinion almost the entire time, I think it was a suicide attempt. I think that.
You do?
Yeah. A lot of people that do that are overly happy. They don't want you to suspect it at all. And the fact that she's sending so many messages to her boyfriend and like, where was this that she wanted? She got MapQuest directions to?
Yeah.
To Berkshire Mountains.
Mm-hmm.
Mountains are a good place to do that.
But she was also going to where her family had stayed too.
Just because that's a familiar place to her, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go
but
somewhere
they
I
said
don't
in
know.
her car she had like some clothes, her favorite book.
What was it? Another thing that made me think that was, I mean, she was struggling with her eating disorder, of course. However, I think she's been sad for a really long time. I don't think the military academy was like not for her. I just think she was depressed and really sad person and just attributed it to that and attributed any kind of eating disorders to her depression. And then I think the thing that like was the smoking gun for me, and this is all just speculation in my head.
Right. No, I like hearing your opinion.
And this is just things that make sense to me. She went to the liquor store, okay? People that are about to end their own life, they need some help, okay? She went to the liquor store. She emptied out.
Favorite drink?
Yeah, she emptied out everything but $20 in her bank account. Maybe her bank account had a rule that she couldn't like withdraw everything, and it comes in increments of 20s. So she took everything but $20 just because whatever. I don't know what I'll need between now and then. And she goes and gets the ingredients to her very favorite alcoholic beverage. Like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to drink my favorite drink. And then I'm going to do it. And then I think does anybody ever bring up the rag? The rag in a tailpipe.
Crossed my mind.
Rag in a tailpipe. Why is that there?
Her dad told her with that black smoke and stuff coming out that she could, if she wanted to, put this rag to subdue some of that smoke coming out, I guess. He stated that in an interview that he told her to do that. And maybe
that's how you kill yourself in a vehicle.
But maybe it was if something he told her to do that.
That's how you kill yourself in a vehicle. Is by blocking the exhaust pipe and getting carbon monoxide poisoning. That's how you kill yourself in a vehicle. Is by clogging up your tailpipe.
And maybe it wasn't in the exhaust. I don't know, but I know he told her to do it.
Because that's
look it up.
I'm like,
Where
this
was the...
girl wrecked her car, wants to commit suicide, put that rag in her tailpipe to do that, got out of the car. And maybe she even chickened out, but got too far. And she had gotten to a point where she was trying to call her ex boyfriend and she was like dying. And she ended up dying somewhere in some kind of remote place and no one's ever found her body.
It says the rag was found dangling out of Maura's exhaust the night the car was found abandoned.
That's weird to me.
Um,
It's literally how you do that.
the police apparently believed it to be a possible indicator clue to support the notion that Maura was a danger to herself and had come to this area to personal harm herself.
See, and that never crossed your mind. It's been on my mind since the very beginning.
Her dad, I listened to it today when I was listening to that podcast. He, in words himself, told her to do that. I don't know if he told her. I think when he was talking about it, he said if your car does stop and you get pulled over and there's a bunch of smoke coming out, he's the one that gave her the rag. He said it was his rag. He said you can use this to put in it so you don't have all that smoke coming out. He said he gave it to her.
My dad knows nothing about vehicles. I'm confused. I mean, if the car is off, it's fine. But even if it's to block exhaust.
And maybe that's what it was.
Exhaust is to get bad stuff, all the bad, like gas and oils that are being generated in your car out in a safe manner to where you're not breathing it. And so
But
if
here's
you're
the thing
blocking
makes
that,
sense to
it's
me.
going into you.
If that was her plan, she could have parked anywhere and done that. You wouldn't wreck and have your everything and stuck that in and then go run off in the woods. That's not a game plan.
No, I think her game plan was to go out in the mountains and.
But I mean, it was found there at the scene.
Yeah. Okay, this is my opinion. Okay.
No, but yeah, I
think she was playing it as it goes. She was intentionally going to the mountains. She's drinking. She's building up the courage to do it. She wrecks because she's drunk. She's got a bad car. It's a windy road that she's not familiar with. There's all kinds of reasons why she could have wrecked that car.
Yeah.
And then in that moment, while she was waiting, maybe she thought, I'm just going to end it now and I'm going to put this thing in the tailpipe. And then she chickens out and leaves and then hikes somewhere to do it. I don't know. That is just my speculation. I read
comments that she ran out there and was just like, it's 20 degrees. You know, you drink, you curl up, you go to sleep, you know?
Yeah.
But my thing is, why didn't they find her? Which, I mean, she's an athlete. Attracts her. Who knows how far she went before?
Yeah, and there's remote places that
you can crawl into.
Or whatever. Just like Jill Bierman, she was found like 3 years after she disappeared. And she was not far from Bloomington. She was just in such a remote area and so congested with brush that no one ever found her. I don't know.
Some people say on Reddit the boyfriend was involved. I don't think he's involved. He was stationed somewhere.
Yeah, no, and people just want significant others to be involved. They just want it.
And then some people say maybe she was afraid of getting a DUI and ran out there and just died.
Yeah, and it's very possible.
To me, what she did leading up to it, I wouldn't think suicide, but I mean, it could be.
Honestly, I cannot imagine, especially living out in such a remote area, okay? I'm Butch. I'm the woman watching from the window. I am not taking my eyes off of that car until the police get there. Or even during I'm too nosy for that.
No one saw anything.
Yeah,
they literally said there's, at that moment the police officer showed up, no footprints. And it wasn't snowing anymore. That's why I almost think she got picked up.
Mm-hmm. But she wouldn't go into old man's house. Maybe she did go into old man's house.
No, Butch had a wife and was a bus driver, and You know what I mean? I don't, maybe. But,
John Wayne Gacy was a Boy Scout and a clown.
yeah. I mean, what's her name that made the first call was like, oh, Butch is out there,
Yeah.
talking to her. They knew her exact height.
Maybe
How'd they know her height?
maybe there's some kind of legality thing where he found all the stuff with her name on it, looked her up, and saw what her height was, but they couldn't officially look at that stuff until they got a. I don't know how that works. But with all that stuff with her name on it, they had to have seen that. They just legally
But I mean,
maybe couldn't look at it
this
yet.
was 2004. What would have her height been on? I mean, do you think they typed
No, if
her
they,
name in?
yeah, they just, I'm sure they've got a database that has all of our
Oh.
driver's license information on it.
Yeah.
I bet you, I'm not sure what their database looks like, but I
Yeah.
assume that's
I
how the
would just
database works.
think she wouldn't be the only one to pop up, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a weird case that she's never been seen again. From 2 people making 911 calls to the police getting there, she's gone.
Yeah, I can't believe. I think those neighbors failed her because
Mm-hmm.
now if someone got into a car accident right here, I may be like, eh.
Right.
But I'm out in a remote place at
Yeah.
night and there's snow on the
20
ground.
degrees.
I'm not taking my eyes off of that car
Yeah, like,
to
are
make
you
sure
okay?
that person gets help.
Right.
Why did Butch leave her? He should have stayed out there. Come on, Butch.
This is like the main thing people agree with. They're saying the odds of someone picking her up and killing her out there is 0, which I don't believe that.
I don't
mean,
think 0.
bad people live in small towns, But they're saying that they think she ran off in the woods and died of exposure, is what the main people think happened to her. And like you said, maybe they just can't find her. I just think it's weird that you can't find bones in the spring or something.
Well, I mean, are there bears and stuff up in Massachusetts and Vermont?
I don't know.
I don't know.
She wasn't in Massachusetts. That's where she lived. She drove somewhere. Where was she? Like New
Was it
Hampshire?
Vermont or New Hampshire?
Yeah, somewhere.
One of the two. Those are
Yeah.
all so small
Same,
and so
yeah.
close together. But so there, I mean, there might be bears there. Maybe a bear got rid of everything there is to know about her. After a certain point. I don't know, but I think it's most likely, like, chance-wise, that she died willingly or unwillingly out in the weather due to her running away from her car, trying to commit suicide or avoid getting in trouble. She knew that car was toast anyway, so who cares?
Yeah. And I mean, it could have been a crime of opportunity. This is how a lot of not to bring Israel Keys up, but he preyed on people that were on the side of the road.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of them did, or just.
I think she was too smart for that. He would have had to get out and drag her in there.
Mm-hmm.
Israel Keys wasn't like a good-looking dude.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I remember slightly what he looks like, but I don't think he was like someone I would have been like, oh.
There's just a lot of holes in the story because say the dog scent thing was accurate, which I don't really think it was. It only showed her going 100 yards and then gone. It didn't show her going. It said it didn't show her going into the woods.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, like I said, I don't believe how accurate that was after 36 hours later, smelling a glove she may have never worn.
Yeah.
I just wish there wasn't so many holes in the case.
I wish them dang neighbors would not have taken their eyes off of it. They would have at least seen her willingly walking away. Yeah.
There is another theory that I didn't even bring up because it's not even true. But I'm going to tell you. And I didn't even really want to talk about it. At 12:20 a.m. Friday, February 6th. So where were we at?
That's the day that she had the breakdown at her job.
Police found Vossi on the side of the road at intersection Lawsuit spent over a month at the hospital, what's described as a state of comatose. He was involved in a hit and run accident. Someone hit him on right in the campus. A lot of people speculated it was her, which her sister came out and said that she wasn't, like, it can't even remotely be true. But a lot of people speculated she wrecked her dad's, or maybe it was that she did something. I don't know. Her sister said there's no truth in it whatsoever.
Okay.
But there was a hit and run accident on the night of.
The 6th, the night she had her mental breakdown at her job.
And I guess.
And the next day she had car troubles. Did she do something to her car that caused these car troubles? Could have something in a hit and run
No, her
accident
car had
have
always
caused...
been having car troubles.
Okay. Sorry, there's no truth
So
in
what
it.
is the 6th? It's the Friday or the Thursday?
It's a Thursday.
Okay.
Friday was the day she went car shopping with her dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was the 7th.
Her sister said she was at work when this accident happened. That it's not even remotely true, but she said online people have pieced it and said that's what she was. But she was at work because she had an alibi. She's never been a person of interest in that hit and run.
But people are speculating that.
People, yeah, on Reddit and stuff have said it.
Yeah.
And her sister wanted to clear that up.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's just too much weird behavior.
Because this Reddit person said she hit Patrice Vesey in panic. Her dad came down the next day to give her money so she could get away for a week and calm down and distance herself from all the problems going on in her life. I think she was drinking and driving when she crashed and spun out and knew that would make every problem in her life worse. She denied help from Butch, knowing the police would get her in trouble. Then a car drove by offering help, or she was with someone who turned around, or someone in front of her, someone turned around. Either way, she got in the car. Grabbed the alcohol, either so she could keep drinking, or so when the cops showed up, it wouldn't be in the car. All for self-preservation. Was either murdered or an accident happened where she died and her body was disposed of. So this person's basically saying she hit them. The next day, her dad comes with a bunch of money, says they were car shopping all day, never buys a car because he took out $4,000 in cash every, in increments. Like, it was weird. And he said that is why, because he was buying this car. But this person's saying that she was planning on leaving town. But like I said, her sister said there's no truth at all to this at all.
Okay, there's no truth in it.
That's what her sister said. You can have your own opinion. I don't know.
I
wasn't there.
I don't know enough of it. Now, if it happened the night that she wrecked her dad's rental, I'd say there's probably truth in that. But
it is weird. Her
if she
accidents in her cars. Like, I think she must have had some kind of drink. I mean, I don't believe you have that many wrecks in that short time frame.
I think she was emotional, and I think she was drinking a lot. And I just think her activity, I mean, she was spiraling. I do not think we can say that suicide is off the table there because she was honestly spiraling.
This one says if you read a blog, that she's alive and well and she's in Canada, this whole thing was faked because she did the hit and.
Wow.
There's a lot of, that's what I'm saying. These are all people on Reddit saying stuff. And her sister said there is so much of this. Because, I mean.
Faked her disappearance. Not faked her disappearance, but disappeared to run away to Canada because she had that hit and run and killed somebody.
And he's alive. He made it.
Oh, he made it.
He ended up making it. Yeah, but he was on a vent and stuff during this time period. But like I said, she was at work the time frame of his accident. But yeah, if you get on here, there's so many, you know what I mean? Different scenarios people have made up.
No.
I do think after I read that, what's weird is that part of the alcohol was gone. I mean, do you think she took that when she... That's weird to me, but maybe not.
I mean, if you have a drinking problem, you're taking the alcohol with you, no matter where you're going.
True.
If you're trekking through the snow,
Right.
you're taking it with you.
That's very true.
They keep you warm out in the snow.
That's really true. Or if someone picked you up and wanted to go to a party.
I don't think that. I can't
Because
accept.
no neighbor saw like another vehicle.
Well, I can't accept someone as smart as her. She almost got a perfect on her
Right.
SAT. She's been to military school. She's athletic. That would be smart enough to get in the car with a stranger after refusing help from a nice old bus driver.
You have to think though, people aren't in the right state of mind when they have, you know what I mean? The smartest person can make a dumb decision sometimes.
I don't know. I'm pretty set on
We'll
my
never
thinking.
know.
I know. I'm pretty set on my
Well, her
thinking.
sister's still actively looking for her. They just did another search. I mean, there's updates as of 2024. Now, it wasn't a big update. I think they did like a reconstruction of what she'd look like now recently.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to look at that. Yeah, on February 9th, 2024, they released new photos showing what she would look like.
Is she here in Greene County somewhere, folks? She looks familiar.
Why am I playing this? She does look familiar, don't she?
You know who she looks like?
Who?
Amy Schumer.
Oh,
Amy Schumer.
kinda.
That's who she looks like. Amy Schumer, I'm on to you.
I do know. A month later,
Mm-hmm.
another girl disappeared
Oh, no.
in the exact same
Fashion?
fashion.
That's weird. In, like, the same general area?
90 miles. Her sister's podcast is called Media Pressure.
Media pressure.
Yep.
And I always feel bad for people that, because one I've done in the past is questionable too, but I always feel bad for people that do that that's what they decide that they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then something like this happens and their family spends 20 some years looking for them, and it,
Yeah,
like, they can never rest.
I know. It's heartbreaking. Well, Emily, that is all I have for this one.
Yikers. What does everybody think? Like, I want to hear what everybody else has to think about this one. Let us know.
Yeah, like, I don't know. What is that? Is that a truck outside?
Yeah, that's someone's truck
Your
backfiring.
neighbors.
Someone in this town. My neighbors don't have a truck like that. But yeah, if you're on YouTube, leave us a comment. Let us know what your opinion is, because I want to know if anybody else is thinking the same way I'm thinking, or what you're thinking.
Yeah, because I'm not, and maybe I should have, like, that never crossed my mind.
See, that's the only thing that crossed my mind the entire
So
time.
yeah, we had two different perspectives. I did not, and maybe it's because I pictured her as this person being athletic, smart, and you don't think, but they are. You know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
they can be as sad as anybody else. But I pictured like this. She had a boyfriend. She was dating a track coach. Like, you're 21. Like, yeah, you're getting into you stole makeup and you ordered some food on someone's credit card, but you still have your whole life ahead of you.
Yeah.
But yeah, people have it worse than you think they do. I really thought something fishy happened.
Yeah, sometimes people are really good at hiding it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did you ever watch the Ellen Show?
Mm-hmm.
She had like a DJ on there.
I love
Twitch.
him. Yes.
He committed suicide.
I remember. Yeah,
And he's so happy and dancing
I
all the
loved
time.
him.
You know, it's just, you
Mm-hmm.
never know.
Yeah.
No amount of money, no amount of anything can save you from that,
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yeah, I want to know what everybody thinks. So let
I
us
do
know.
too. I do too. And if you've heard about this case before, because I had not. I must have been under a rock.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I meant to bring it up and I forgot though. So I think this will be a good time. Did you hear about what happened at the Shy Diesel Fest yesterday? Oh my gosh. So you know the Shy Diesel Fest, right?
Yeah.
So out in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah.
there all the people get their big old diesel trucks.
Don't they do it around here now?
Yeah, it's like out in Lyons.
Yeah.
And someone drove a truck into the crowd and like 4 people got lifelined yesterday.
Was it like an accident?
I don't know.
I mean, hopefully.
The rumors on Facebook was that I saw somewhere that someone drove into a tent with 6 people in it, but the thing I saw from the Greene County Police Department stated that someone drove a truck from an area where the trucks were allowed and drove it into the spectators and hit 3 spectators and then a couple other things. And then 3 of the spectators got lifelined and the driver got lifelined and they were all in critical condition. I haven't seen any updates yet, but yeah. And I have no idea if it's anybody that we know.
That is heartbreaking. That just gave me goosebumps. I hope everyone makes it okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna look
And
real
I
quick.
hope it was like a terrible accident.
I hope it was too. Like I hope
I
drinking
do
wasn't
not like
involved.
hearing about anything around here that's tragic.
Anyway, I will see. I'm sure we'll see updates on that. But yeah, I think that's all we have for today. And like I said, let us know. Give us a like, give us a follow. Let us know how we're doing and what you guys would like to hear. And we will catch you in the next one. Okay, bye.
Bye.